Donald Trump is once again insisting he is not a dictator, even as his actions and words increasingly resemble those of a dictator. In the past week, he's used military force against American cities, signed unconstitutional executive orders, and openly toyed with the idea that perhaps the country would be better off under one-man rule. At a cabinet meeting today, Trump spent much of the time boasting about his federal takeover of Washington, D.C., and his planned deployment of troops to Chicago. He lashed out at Democratic governors like Maryland's Wes Moore and California's Gavin Newsom, accusing them of letting their states descend into lawlessness. The remarks followed a startling statement the previous day when, while signing an executive order in the Oval Office, Trump claimed, "A lot of people are saying, maybe we'd like a dictator."
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying, maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person. And when I see what's happening to our cities, and then you send in troops, instead of being praised, they're saying you're trying to take over the republic. These people are sick.
Within seconds, he contradicted himself. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and a smart person. Yet the contradiction is precisely the point. Trump flirts with the word dictator, then denies it, all while carrying out policies and issuing orders that defy constitutional limits and reinforce the perception that he has embraced authoritarianism. Trump has taken to describing his power grab as little more than common sense. The line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime, he said today. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. He insisted again, I'm not a dictator, I just know how to stop crime. And you see, it's precisely this contradiction that gives him license to claim that he isn't when we all know that he is, and when he knows that he is. And as we've always said with Donald Trump, just flip everything that he says and you'll get to the truth. Well, Trump is admitting to being an authoritarian, admitting to being an autocrat, and now claiming that the people want that too. That message has become a refrain. During the 2024 campaign, Trump told rally crowds that he would act like a dictator on day one of his administration. He and his allies dismissed it as a joke at the time, but since retaking office in January, Trump has governed exactly that way, bypassing Congress, dismissing court rulings, and ordering sweeping executive actions that have no grounding in law.
Just hours from another Republican debate that he is skipping, frontrunner Donald Trump dominating headlines with this answer about abuse of power.
Do you in any way have any plans whatsoever, if reelected president, to abuse power, to break the law, to use the government to go after people?
You mean like they're using right now?
Pressed later.
You would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
what?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's not retribution.
I'm going to be, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator, okay?
But Mr. Trump has long promised payback against political opponents.
Last week, he signed an order instructing states how to run their elections, despite the Constitution granting no such authority to the president. This week, he issued another executive order criminalizing flag burning with a mandatory year in prison, a direct violation of Supreme Court precedent and a blatant attack on the First Amendment. Trump calls this leadership. Legal experts call it unconstitutional rule by decree. It's not just the law that Trump disregards, but also the separation of powers. His regime has treated Congress and the federal judiciary not as co-equal branches of government, but as obstacles to be ignored. His Justice Department has targeted critics under his direction, from New York Attorney General Letitia James to Democratic Senator Adam Schiff, while the FBI has reportedly investigated former advisor John Bolton after his public criticism of Trump. Trump himself has also suggested that former President Barack Obama should also face investigation. These are the hallmarks of a leader bent on suppressing opposition.
He did all kinds of things like that. But the difference was that he understood you weren't supposed to be doing out in public. You're supposed to hide that kind of thing. That was the reason he got pushed out of office, was with a cover-up. There's no cover-up here. What's going on with this president is out in the open. He's not really making much of a pretense that this is anything other than retribution. Look what we saw just in the last few days, right? We saw FBI agents at John Bolton's house. We saw just yesterday the president of the United States say on social media that he was really angry at Chris Christie, the former governor of New Jersey, a one-time ally of his. He didn't like what Christie was saying on television, and therefore maybe he should reopen an investigation into a 12-year-old matter involving Christie, very openly saying that because Christie criticized him, Christie should be investigated. This is not secret. This is not hidden. This is right out in the open. When Elon Musk turned on Donald Trump, Trump said, hey, maybe I should take away all of his federal contracts. In other words, he is willing to not only use the instruments of power of government, which are supposed to be neutral and not political weaponry. He's willing to use them as weapons, and he's willing to basically make clear that he's using them as weapons.
His rhetoric echoes the leaders he most admires. Trump has long praised autocrats like Russia's Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. John Kelly, Trump's former Homeland Security Secretary and White House Chief of Staff, put it bluntly last year, he certainly prefers the dictator approach to government. Asked whether Trump's leadership style fits the definition of fascism, Kelly pointed to its core features: militarism, authoritarianism, suppression of opposition, and rule by a single strongman, and concluded those are the kinds of things that he thinks would work better in terms of running America.
And I was just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But I'm going to sign this for him, but I was sent one, and I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming, and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. But I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me, okay?
Trump has now ordered the military into Washington, D.C., despite declining crime rates in the capital. He has threatened to deploy the National Guard into other cities like Los Angeles and Chicago against the will of their governors. Asked whether he would send troops into Chicago without the state's consent, Trump answered simply, I am. When pressed on whether the Pentagon is prepared to carry out such orders, he replied, we're ready to go anywhere. The irony is that Trump denies the charge of dictatorship while simultaneously leaning into it. He dismisses critics who call him authoritarian by saying he is merely solving problems that Democrats refuse to acknowledge. I'm not a dictator, he repeats, even as he paints himself as the only one capable of restoring order. But the danger is not in his words, it's in the normalization of the logic behind them. When Trump says that Americans might prefer a dictator if it means less crime, he's not just defending his own actions, he's actually laying the groundwork for a fundamental shift in the country's political culture. What was once unthinkable, a president openly entertaining dictatorship, is becoming part of the national conversation, precisely because Trump keeps taking it there. Trump's denials no longer reassure, they expose. His insistence that he is not a dictator is contradicted by his behavior, his executive actions, his willingness to sideline other branches of government, and his readiness to use the military as a domestic police force. The more he denies it, the more undeniable it becomes. Trump is not just flirting with authoritarianism, he is exercising it and enjoying it. And as history has shown, when a leader insists he is not a dictator, it's often because he already is one. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.